That's my picture of Max and Sam and the Matterhorn. And I learned how to do the Matterhorn from Watercolor Secrets. And I think that was lesson number 3 of the mountains. And wow, that one really turned out great. So I'm very happy.
It looks like the Matterhorn.
Yeah. So this one didn't turn out as well. I think this was lesson 2. And the lizard I drew, it looks like a salamander. It didn't work out at all. But that's okay. I'll keep on going. And this is James's dinner for today. It's spaghetti squash with a curry and some stuffed potato skins. So that should be good. And I'm going to talk about Mayfair Witches Season 1. Ross Floral painting, Queenpins, Desperate Hours, and Inheritance. And there's one thing about the curry. I made it from the spice, what is it called? Spice Tailor. And they gave this great recipe book inside. But there's one part where they say to add one sauce, and then they, like, one is one kind of sauce and one is another kind of sauce. Well, they didn't label both. They just labeled this one OTM sauce, which isn't listed there, and the other one isn't labeled at all. So that's a little bit confusing.
At least it's not concerning. It's marketed as sauce, right?
Yeah.
The birds, these little chickadees, are really excited about something.
So, but that's great. I'm gonna get. I'm a little bit scared of my paintings getting wrecked out here because the snow is blowing around. Yeah. Especially since the birds are excited because they're moving the tree, right?
Yeah, maybe they were excited to see these birds here.
I don't know.
Sam and
But I'm going to read my poem first. It's called Maxy Matterhorn. And I wrote this one December 6, 2023. Old Max was over twice Sam's size. Sam didn't seem to realize that he was crazy, nude and small, and not a stud to Max at all. To Sam, she was the Matterhorn, an awesome mountain he was born to climb, and so he climbed that peak. Max hooked his nostril with her beak and tossed him off in little time. Sam's beak was injured in his climb and wouldn't look the same again. The Matterhorns killed many men. 500 climbers faced its frost and lost. Is climbing worth the cost? That's my poem. And about Sam, why he is naked, like he came to me that way. He was very stressed out. He lived with a couple gave him to me, and they were the parents of a girl who she'd been a teenage girl with, and she'd been Sam's caregiver. And
I
Sam
bet your friend too.
Good friend, because she trained him to eat everything. He was happy with anything I'd cook. He was like, yeah, whatever. And so I'd be cooking in the kitchen and he'd be like, hurry up, it smells good. You know, he didn't speak English, but it was obvious he was very excited about whatever I was cooking. And I'd try to give him things to munch on in the meantime, and he'd be like, I can smell that you're cooking something amazing. You know, it wouldn't satisfy him. But anyway, he was great that way. He'd eat whatever. You know, anything I cooked was like, he made me feel like I was a 5-star chef or something. You know, he just loved it. But, yeah, anyway, so the couple, they gave him to me because their daughter had moved out and she left Sam. You know, sometimes you go places like to school, to a dorm, or to wherever, and you can't have pets, right? And Sam went crazy. So he plucked out all of his feathers except for his flight feathers. So you can see that's all he had, flight feathers. And around his neck and on his head. That's it, because he couldn't pluck that out. And every time he'd pluck a feather, he'd scream because it hurt him. But he couldn't help it. He kept doing it. And so when Maxie hooked his nostril like that, well, I took him to a vet. It was a great vet on the west side of Lethbridge. I don't know if they're there still. But that vet was wonderful. And he gave Max a prescription for I think it was an anti-anxiety medication or something like that, right?
Sam prescription.
Sorry, Sam, not Max. Max was fine.
She had her anxiety. She visited them on other
She visited, yeah, not herself. But anyway, yeah, she caused anxiety in other people. But yeah, Sam. So he got his medication, but it made him. He wasn't happy on it. You could tell he would hide in places, like behind things on a shelf, or between like books and the top of the shelf. He was scared all the time, and he wasn't plucking, but he was not happy, and you could tell he was doped, it wasn't good.
Poor
But
friend.
yeah, he was a sweet little guy though. He just, when he lost the love of his life, a teenage girl.
He lost his lust for life.
Exactly, that's all. And the vet said that once they start doing that, they don't stop. It's just, you gotta keep them on medication. That's the best you can do. So anyway, I'm gonna put this away since I've sung my song and or said my poem, and James will talk to you for a minute.
Maybe.
Well, I'm sure he has something to talk about. He always has something to talk about.
I don't know. There's not much to talk about, really. I mean, there's we can talk and talk and talk, and people don't listen. They're making the same mistakes, like 9/11. After that, I said, we're the last refuge of the refugees. It's been over 20 years. Coming up a whole generation. And they're letting in just whomever. Come on in and destroy our democracy, destroy our freedom of speech, destroy this, destroy that, without checking or anything like that. So, like, is it going to be us who are natives to here? No, not unless we speak out. But if someone speaks out, Salman Rushdie's not native to the United States. In Chicago, he's almost lost his life to some guy who figured that he should be killed for writing the satanic verses, which is blasphemy, and that is the penalty under Sharia law for blasphemy. Anyone who believes in that should not be allowed in any democracy. You cannot have any penalty for freedom of speech, aside from yelling fire in a theater, and there shouldn't be a death penalty for that. Or putting a contract out on someone. And there should be I think if it's like mafia gang type activity, there should be death penalty for that, commuted to life without possibility of parole. So it should be, look, you deserve death, but we're so civilized, we're not like you idiots. Mafia or Muslim fundamentalists. We're not like you idiots. We're actually civilized. So, yeah, but it's just been going on and on and on. Like, let him in. Come on in from Syria. We see you got your women all swaddled up in clothing and stuff like that. But you're fine, fundamentalists. No. Just because Putin and the Alawites, the Ba'athist party, the Ba'athists are Nazi commies. Just because they pick on them doesn't mean those fundamentalists in Syria are nice people. Some of them might be. Most
some
of them
people
would be
think,
nasty.
the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that is almost never the case, actually.
There were all sorts of stupid, nifty, shifty, hefty lefties.
They might both be
After
your
World War
enemies.
II, we were going around saying, wow, the Soviet Union's our friend because they helped us bring down fascism and Nazism. No. The United States helped them. They would have gone to hell in a handbasket without the United
Sometimes
States.
you just form a temporary
Jesus. Or sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But you keep them at a distance, let me tell you.
Mayfair Witches Season 1. Anne Rice's, from Anne Rice's books. I never read these witchy ones. I'd read some of the vampire stuff. because at the time I was asking Silas, that was my ex, what books I should read, because I thought he was so smart, and that I was a teenager and I was totally in love with him, and I wanted to be as smart as him. I wanted him to show me what he'd done so that he could be so amazing like I thought he was. And so he got me to read some different books, and some of them were the Anne Rice vampire stuff. But I mean, it wasn't anything he'd read. Like, I was reading poetry on my own, then he read poetry, but it was different stuff than I was reading. And he read a little bit of that to me and whatever. But anyway, vampire stuff, okay. And he got me to read some dragon books or something, and wasn't for me, you know. But anyway, this is great. I really enjoyed watching this. There's some silliness but I'm sure Anne Rice wrote it in to the book, so they'd have to follow it. But the stuff with the uncle, it's like, come on, you know, that's a little bit too much, right? And I certainly look forward to season 2 and to see what has come about with Rowan and what's going on with all of these Mayfair Witches. Because, yeah, this was a lot of fun to watch.
So it's in London, is it? Is that why it's called Mayfair?
No, they probably came from there. Hey,
Okay.
Flicker! Hi, Flicker! It's okay.
Oh, there you are. As soon
don't
as
know how
I
you missed
established
him.
eye contact. Well, they're made to, I mean,
Yeah,
there's a certain pattern
they're
on there.
huge.
They are huge, but there's a certain pattern. It took me a while to pick the
It was
pattern
right
out
on
from
the
the
apple
pattern on the bark of the tree.
Anyway, Bob Ross Floral painting. As it turns out, I have watched this video before, and I was disappointed because it's actually not Bob Ross who's the instructor with this. It's Annette Kowalski, and she does some lovely flowers and stuff, but it's nothing like what I would do. And this is oil painting, so
Oil painting's best avoided. I think it's unhealthy for people.
There's a lot of, when you're doing painting, look at the paints. There's a lot of carcinogenic paints, and there's a lot of paints that are bad for your health in other ways. It's best to do certain types of painting outdoors. And so I'm doing watercolor painting right now because it's winter and I'm indoors. And honestly, I used to do a lot of acrylic painting, but there's a lot of carcinogenic paints there too. And I've been worried about using them indoors. I used to do it all the time when I was young. But now I think, I'd better just do it outdoors. But then when it's warm enough to do things like painting outdoors, well, I want to be hiking. So I don't get that done anymore. So I have a lot of acrylic paints that I really should use up, or they're not going to be good anymore. But whatever. Queenpins. So this is about a coupon. It's a great story. I don't believe it's real, but
Coupon clipping?
yeah, it's about a coupon. Those super coupon people that get like $150 worth of groceries for $15.
Well, you used to be pretty good at it, I'm telling you.
Well, I'm pretty good at it, but I've never done the coupon thing. I never found that was worthwhile. I do the reduce to clear kind of shopping.
No,
and
you
it's
collected
awesome.
coupons, but some.
Okay, did I?
You,
I don't know. I've never found the coupon thing
you got some pretty good deals, but yeah. It wouldn't be like these folks.
No. So, but they start up a business, and I don't want to give it away because it's quite an awesome story. But the reason that this is further down on the stack is mostly I'm totally creeped out by this message. Basically, I can relate to this main character in a way, because she's she was faced with spending huge amounts of money at the fertility clinic trying to get pregnant, and then it showed like her bank account just went into nothing, right? The whole savings gone.
$10,000 a shot.
Yeah, like it's
and that
easy
was a
to
while back.
Lose a lot of money that way. So her and her husband blew their savings, and she's at home instead. She's filled her baby room with stuff that she's collected with this coupon craze that she's been doing, right?
Yeah.
And her husband is not supportive of it, and he's like, you should get a job, you shouldn't be doing this is enough, you know.
This is her equivalent of a feather pulling.
Yeah. And so and with me, I started collecting infant-sized dogs, and I got quite a collection going. So anyway, I could totally relate with that thing, and there needs to be more stories told about fertility clinics so that people realize, oh yeah, I'm not going to have a baby after $10,000 or whatever. Anyway.
It seems like a money grab.
Yeah.
A huge money grab.
Well, it is, because you have to wonder why are people having so many fertility issues? It's like they're being fixed ahead of time so that they can't have children, so that when they want to have children, they can't have children without a fertility clinic. It seems like that, doesn't it? Anyway, so I can totally relate to this woman that way, but at the same time, the whole story, basically her and her friend, they make millions of dollars off of this scam that they're pulling. And she ends up doing a little bit of prison time, but it's nothing, and it shows her, you know, it's all really worked out for her. So really the message is break the law severely and totally run a scam, and your life will be great, which I can't support that message, even though I can relate to what she's going through, and I think, you know, the system is a scam. It's scamming her, it's scamming me, it's scamming James, it's scamming all sorts of people, and it really gets me down sometimes. But it doesn't mean that you should be a scammer of the system.
Well,
you just
forgetting. Sorry, are these things edible, or are they more?
They're like flavors for they're in the spice package. You can just take them out. I wouldn't try to chew on that cinnamon stick or that hot pepper.
No.
Just take that right out of there.
Okay. I'll chuck them in New
Desperate
York.
Hours. This one is a movie to look at what Mickey Rourke used to look like before he totally ruined himself.
Oh my gosh.
Check
he used
that
to
out.
be a handsome guy. Yeah, I know. He's a handsome guy.
Who would have known?
Seeing him in one movie, there was a bunch of young pups, and
but really, aside from that, it's not worth watching. As far as I'm concerned, It wasn't a great movie.
Yeah, I don't know how all he ruined his looks.
Inheritance. I don't know how
probably
a movie with Simon Pegg didn't work. It didn't work at all. It's unbelievable. You have at the end, I mean, you find out he has committed a crime in the past, but really, is it a crime that you would expect him to all of a sudden start killing people or whatever? It just doesn't click. It doesn't make any sense.
Now, some people can morph from one thing into another
Yeah.
if they get on some drugs or something like that. So Charlie Manson, I think, got on his killing kick. He exploited runaway girls, so he pimped them out. Up till that point in time, He would have been doing other crimes, but once he discovered methamphetamines, and then he went, he got paranoid, you know? And he started killing people, or having his followers kill people. So he kind of changed, but and some people can just morph into things. Like Paul Bernardo was a rapist it looks like for quite a period of time, and he seemed he was on a feedback loop that made things worse and worse and worse, and eventually got around to killing people and stuff like that. And they say rapists are that way, so there can be kind of changes, but
maybe.
I can't see a person just going hog wild, like from being a church-going Puritan to being just like a stone cold killer.
Okay, well maybe the story is somewhat believable then. I don't know. And honestly, there's no good guys in this story.
Well,
you're left to think, oh well, the girl who's a lawyer, she's a good guy, but no, not really. You know, nobody's really in this movie.
It's hard to think of a lawyer being a good guy.
Yeah, it really is. And especially if she's trying to protect the family's secrets and stuff like that that are really bad, then she's not good. Plain and simple. So, anyway, that's all I had to talk about today. You?
Well, I talked about something that's an ongoing concern. It's been that way ever since 9/11. Yeah.
I melted even through this bag.
Yeah, that's incredible. Anyway, I don't know if there's anything else I really want to talk about.
Okay.